Of course you do. Oh, reserve fund transfers are first. Barbara, who do you want to go first, you or Ashley? The first one is for the veterans agent in the amount of $2,216 for his salary. Or her, his or her. Since we don't have one right now, is that right?
The current one is a he, and he will be here through the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
So
To the end of when, I'm sorry?
the month. So as I wrote in the explanation, the current veterans agent has resigned. We were in a position where we needed to advertise for the job. We were made aware that the current hours that were allotted to the position were not sufficient. And so because we needed to advertise at this point in time, we felt it was prudent to advertise with the increase in the hours. It's still going to remain a stipend position, but the expectation is going to be 10 hours a week. So we are increasing the pay to reflect that.
From how many?
So the current agent, had a discussion with him the other day. He said that he's working between 4 to 8 hours a week, depending on what's going on. So a lot of the issue is, it's not just dealing with the benefits that are available on the local level, but also to be able to find what benefits are available on the federal level, and that's what takes a lot of the time. And so in order to be able to fully provide the services that we should be providing to the veterans, we need to increase the hours.
So to be clear, we're not paying the agent on an hourly basis. It's a fixed dollar amount for a period of time
It's a
that
stipend position,
will
correct?
be, where that dollar amount assumes that we will get 10 hours a week on average out of the individual.
Correct. There will be that expectation of 10 hours, right? So if there's a week where they have to put in more than 10 hours, then the next week they would, they could work less, and that would be acceptable. But the average would be 10.
Are we looking at regionalization of the position?
Not currently.
Have we looked at it at all?
I don't know. That would be a question for the town administrator when he or she arrives. I don't know. I don't think so, because, the last, 1, 2, 3, this is the third veteran, this will be the fourth veterans agent that I will work with in my tenure here, so I don't think so. Not to say it won't be done at some point in time, but,
I know some other towns around the area have
Yep.
done that.
yeah.
I was under the impression a few years ago that our agent, we shared him with Lester, and then he
No.
retired? or-
Well, no, it wasn't shared, he just worked in two
I think
communities.
he just worked
Right.
Correct.
there.
Yep.
That's kind of what-
Okay.
So we didn't split any,
No, we didn't split the costs, nope.
yeah, I didn't think so. Any other questions?
Just one. Are we close to getting, did you advertise for the job?
We did,
Are
we advertised, and we are actually doing a second interview tomorrow.
Great.
Oh,
And there would be, the goal is to have some overlap, so to have the new person hired for February, and then have overlap between both agents in the month of February, so that he can come up to speed on the workload and what's required of the position.
Great.
And if I brought my book, I'd done it, but you say the amount requested is about $2,200, present balance is 26. The total stipend is not the $4,800, it's those two amounts plus whatever's been expended.
So the current stipend is $5,279, and the new stipend will be $9,532.
The arithmetic, we've spent half the money so far that was budgeted,
Just about.
50 cents.
Well, we're almost halfway through, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Do you know
actually
the last
good.
time that any changes in the funding of this position was made?
To increase the hours, this is the first time.
So it's been steady for a number of
Pretty much. There was a minor bump in the pay, but it was very minimal. As you can see, the current pay is just barely over $5,000. Yeah.
And I remember having worked with, it was Tim, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's not
Prior.
currently, but we
Right.
had, yeah.
When we had Tim prior, and I was his liaison, he does a lot of work, and he did a lot of work out of the, just just because he was a nice guy, I think. So you get your money's worth if you get someone like Tim.
Well, the goal is to, we're here to provide services to the veterans, and so, in order to do that, there's a lot of research involved, and, someone might come in and they might not be eligible for the Chapter 115 benefits, but they are eligible for other benefits at the federal level. So that is, that does take some time to research what's available to them. And every case is different. Some cases are pretty straightforward, and some are very complicated.
Yeah, I can vouch that the number of programs that I've seen come and go has definitely increased. And it's not just a matter of adding more, but sometimes they change with budgets and sort of things. So it makes sense to me that it would require more work these days.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of $2,216 from the reserve fund to the Veterans Agents Department Head salary account.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? I think that's 9-0. You're all here? Yes. Hi, Bruce. 2, 3, and 6. Okay, and the next one is the town hall. Something here.
The
Insulation. Where exactly is this again?
So the front stairwell here, when you go down, you'll notice a drastic temperature difference at the top
Oh,
and the
yeah, I have
bottom.
noticed that, yes.
Yes, so in investigating that, we found out that behind the wall, there's absolutely no insulation. It's just the brick wall and the foundation. And we have a sprinkler pipe running through there that could potentially be in danger of freezing. And in the past, they've left the door open on extra cold days or swung it into the walkway where people can trip over it. So we are looking to insulate that space to protect it from the temperature.
I have a
Questions?
series of questions. First one, it says up to $1,800. So are you looking, you're going to get $1,800, end of story, right? And then if you don't spend it, great, it'll just come back in the general fund.
We have a quote now, so it is $1,800.
Oh, okay. And so in that space, are you planning to insulate the whole space or just like put type of soffit around the pipe and insulate the pipe?
So the pipe is simple. We already have those supplies on hand when they do the walls. So we're proposing to have spray foam insulation, closed cell insulation put on the exterior wall that runs along the front, and then it curves around to kind of like the basement area where that wall is also exposed, and then the interior wall that faces the stairwell, because there's nothing there at all.
Okay. Will it make any change to the exterior appearance of the building?
Absolutely not. Everything would be on the inside of the building. It's spray
Right,
foamed in.
doesn't that room have like a painted window in it to make it look like
It's actually a real window, so.
Yeah, but it's painted, correct?
No, if you walked up
Oh.
to it from the street, you could look in and see the floor joists and the concrete and even the sprinkler pipe. So when they are working on the repair, we're just gonna put a facade behind it, so when you look in, it'll just basically look like you're looking into a black window. It's
Wait,
no
what-
change to the
What window are you talking about?
There's a window in that stairwell thing. It's, if you were to open it and go in there, it's,
If you were facing the front of the building, so my office is on, my office is on the right, on the left, there's another window, and you actually see
Oh,
the
oh.
wood.
Yeah.
Guess
This-
I never really
At one
noticed.
point, there was a piece of insulation kind of hanging down, and it
I never
wasn't
knew
very
that.
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And that's what prompted us to the temperature issue in the hallway, and then figuring out how could we make it match the rest of our building and hold.
I just want to make clear, I'm not opposed to this in the least bit, but, I was, Barbara too, we're on the building committee, and we got a lot of grief from certain other committees in town about appearances and authenticity, and, at this point, have we paid the building off, so they don't have any more, we don't have any more funds coming in from
We
some?
still have that on the building,
So would they have to be consulted for,
for insulation inside the room. I don't see why they
because CPA funds are being used to fund the part of the renovation? You know what I mean? You know how that whole thing works. I just want to make sure that if this gets done, and if you put up a black artifice behind that window, just so people can't see and act as a force of insulation, we don't have the Historical Commission or the CPA saying, well, you're not keeping true to the appearance of the building, and then leave ourselves open to that. I know it's, I'm just bringing it up.
I would say, I mean, from the inside, it's not gonna look any different from the outside. It wouldn't be any modification to the window frame or the window box itself. And if you look at the center office building across the street, they actually did some of those closed style, like black shutter fill-in type spaces on the outside. So that doesn't, it may meet their guidelines, but it also doesn't fit in with the same look of the window. We wouldn't be doing anything near as drastic as that. Almost just like a thin piece of like, it's much thinner than plywood, but a very thin piece of wood that goes behind it, and then there'll just be insulation on the rear of it.
I mean, we can definitely check before the work is done if putting that over the window is gonna be an issue. If it is, then we'll just insulate the
We
rest
can
of
go
it.
around the window and leave
Right.
the window
Yeah,
itself
that way.
open.
We can check on
I
that.
prefer that you cover it, insulate over it, but I just, politically, it was such a battle over so many little details.
I mean, we can definitely check on that, but I would think that that would be more, it would look better than what you see now when you look at that window.
Because if you walk up to it now, you see the floor joists, a concrete room, a sprinkler pipe. I mean, you have to get in and really peer and kind of be standing at the right angle. It's not wide open, but
But you can see the wood when you actually
yeah,
look
the
from
wood,
afar.
yeah. The wood, when you're driving by, if you have, like, sitting at the stoplight, if you do look to the right, you can see it from the road. So,
But that's easy enough. We can check on that before Ashley moves forward.
yeah.
I don't think it should be an issue.
So going forward, I'd make a motion to approve the transfer in $1,800 from the reserve fund to the town hall purchase of services.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 9-0. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for meeting at 6:30. We appreciate it. One thing I would just ask you to think about, I don't know how many more times you'll be meeting, and hopefully we won't have to ask you for more money before budget season starts, but if you want to just think about how you want to see the budget season structured, if you want to continue with the way we've been doing it in the past, you don't have to make decisions tonight. But, the Saturday meeting obviously is one thing. Some departments come in on Saturday morning, then they come again, on another night. There's been some discussion that that might be redundant. Just think about how you want it structured, and then we can kind of have those conversations before we get to the point of actually scheduling people to come in. I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
And maybe try to streamline things a little bit for you guys too, so you don't have to have so many meetings, but we can still get everything done. Just maybe consolidate it a little. Okay? All right, thank you.
And take these
I
because
will.
you know I will forget.
No.
And I'll be running in here in the morning with them. Thank you. And thanks for, oh, you said the clock, I guess. The Florida.
Bye.
Ooh.
Bye, Barbara.
Oh, how nice. Okay, the next thing is we do have a couple of meeting minutes, and then I believe that catches us up, right?
Yep. Thank
October
you,
6th
Joanne.
October 16th is 1st, 2018. We can remember that far back? That was when, right before the special town meeting. I think it was our last meeting before that STM. Has everybody read through them for any corrections? Not, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Let's
So
see,
moved.
we had a few people absent. Kevin, were you here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who?
Kevin
Kevin
and
and
Karen, right?
Karen, thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor? We've got 6 against,
No.
abstaining.
6 in favor.
I will,
6 in favor. No, then I was calling for the against.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I went right to against, and I believe the other 3 are abstaining? 3 abstaining? Yes, thank you. So it's 6-0-3. Not to confuse everybody. And then we had the minutes for October 29th, which was before the town meeting. The only thing I was confused by, Joanne, was you have no old business and then you have something under it. Did you mean to put no?
Yeah, I can fix that.
That was the only thing I saw.
Good catch.
I wasn't at that meeting, right? I don't think I was? Right.
No. I think you came late. I
Yeah,
mean, you came
I
to the.
came after.
You were there at this special town meeting, though.
So I make a move to approve the minutes as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Any other corrections? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor. Any against? Abstaining? 3. 603 again. Very good. Okay, good. We're caught up. All right. Any new business? Wow.
Did we want to discuss the issue about how to conduct the Saturday meeting and what expectations we have for structure of people coming in to see us during this budget cycle?
We could, if people are ready to.
That's fine.
Of course, I still haven't done the liaisons, except for Kevin. Have you started that, by the way, the school budgets?
Yeah, I was notified. I completely forgot about, how they start right after.
Right.
So Deb called and she sent me some information and we're exchanging emails.
Yeah, they start early after the new year.
Yeah, I had completely spaced on it. I'm a little rusty, so.
Oh, I'll keep you up on it. Yeah, I do have to redo the liaisons. I will at some point. Yes, but what are your thoughts, Mike, since you brought it up?
So just having gone through this last year, I'd say at the beginning, it'd be nice to have a little bit of discussion and focus, probably come from the town administrator and Barbara on the overall financial picture. I know Leon used to put a lot of detail in a book, assuming that we read it and understood it, but it'd be nice to have a little bit of discussion and insight as to trends, what's going on, and not just what are we spending the money on, does it make sense or not, but the bigger picture and sustainability of expenditures going forward. So it'd be nice to have a broader discussion on those issues to kind of set the tone for where we're going and then what we can afford to spend this year and future years there. I guess the Saturday meeting's okay, but I always get a little confused as to why we have some department heads, but not all department heads, and then they give their discussion, and they come back here at least once or twice for, it seems like a similar discussion here, so if there's a more efficient way of using their time and our time, so we don't have to hear the same thing twice, that would be helpful as well. Or maybe if they have to come back a second time, hopefully it's for a more narrow set of issues versus to have a repeat of the discussion that they gave at that Saturday meeting.
I think last year that we did, I mean, I like your idea on discussion on projections and income, because I felt like last year we didn't get into that until later, and I thought we thought it was pretty helpful
And
to,
any major changes they're anticipating,
Yeah.
like we had the whole salary mix-up, and like if
Right,
there's
and that
doing anything
restructuring.
like that again, just
Yeah.
so we kind of have a heads up.
Or in any long-term
some long-term.
capital issues, either we're going to take on a new senior center, a new DPW barn, new fields, new anything, where it's a long-term thing, is it projected? I mean, when I left 2 years ago, there was 6 things projected to happen in 2 years, and then they haven't happened yet, so what's the
And
projection for them?
I don't think any of them are, well, the senior center might be a little further along, but otherwise, I'm not sure that any of them are.
But that's the type
Right.
of thing, and this is where the Board of Selectmen are good to have here too, because they're supposed to be the policy-setting thing and laying some of this stuff out. And I always looked at the Saturday meeting as a way to get the general overall perception. You're talking from the town administrator and the finance director, but also, I always used to ask them where the Board of Selectmen wanted their budget to go, what they thought the most important things were facing the town and what they thought they needed to address. So we just had a concept of where they were coming from. And then, to your point, I think the intent was to have, especially the bigger budget department heads come in, give us their overall budget scenario, why they are proposing what they are for their budgets to both us and the Board of Selectmen, so we're hearing the same thing. And then if they had to come back, it was for a narrow focused issue. It was because we had a question over, I don't know, the $10,000 that goes to police special overtime, or something to that effect.
Anybody else? No, yes?
I mean, we can, I know the Saturday meeting has never been anyone's favorite because it usually takes a lot of time, or it used to take a lot of time.
I think the last few years it's been,
Like a half a day.
yeah, half a day. I think
Yeah.
we've been out by one-ish.
But maybe if we give them a heads up, that the purpose of the Saturday meeting is more of an overview. And any big items that we need to be sensitive to, or anticipation of what might be coming, then it's easier to make decisions knowing that in 2 years, they might be looking to do this, or,
Yeah, bond issuance or whatever's coming, yeah. Things like, replacing the ladder truck, I mean, that's, if that occurs, that's a seven-figure expense. Having that type of plan laid out is kind of good. Now, there used to be plans that said, here's what we're rotating, here's where we're aiming to replace stuff, like we have the.
What we
for
do with the
computers.
ambulance.
like
and-
the
The
ambulance.
ambulance
gets
has one,
rotated, yeah.
computers have one,
I think the police cars, don't
cars
they?
always do, yeah.
And I think we're sitting on $4 million of free cash, and Barbara's working on a little write-up as to how we got there, whether it was extra collections or under expenditures, and help us figure out how
We got a lot-
how we
well,
got there, but.
Yeah, what was
I can tell you how we got
certified?
there.
I don't think I heard what was certified for free cash.
I don't know what it is.
Do you know
what's
that, Mike?
certified
Did
or-
you?
I thought she.
It has to have been certified. We have the tax rate.
Yeah, it had to have been, but I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
what it
know
was
what it is
certified
either.
as. I mean, there was a plan in place to build up the town's reserves so that it met its fiscal reserves, and a lot of it came from returns from the budget. So the budget had,
Inflated numbers.
especially in the reserve fund. And we don't do that anymore. So now it's, reserve fund is what, 0.5% of the whole thing or something like that. But for a while, we were purposely building up reserves so that we could handle things like when the tornadoes came through town. And we weren't sitting around waiting to figure out and borrow money, but we had the money and we could move forward immediately. Prior to that, the percentage of what we had as a rainy day fund was ridiculously small compared to our budget. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars, not millions.
Well, I think
When I
there's a
say hundreds of
difference-
thousands, I'm talking 2 or 3.
There's a difference between free cash and the reserve funds that you're talking about, that we continue to build those balances, and the ambulance funds and the fire.
The free
funds and stuff.
cash, it's unallocated fund balance. It's for unintended things when they come up. That's why it's unallocated at this point in time.
So with that balance, again, there'll probably be a discussion, or should be a discussion, of how much of that we're going to draw down to reduce the tax rate, or reduce increase in tax rate. Or, hey, we got a ton of money out there, much more we've had in past years. How about all these other little projects? Let's put them in there, use free cash to pay for those. So where's the
Have you looked
restraint
at
on
the
some of the
finance
expenditure?
policy? A lot of that's explained in there.
Yep.
Anything else? Hello. All right, any other, I
I mean,
don't know if we're on new business or old business, I've already
I
forgotten.
say it probably took 15, 16, 17 years to accomplish what our financial goals were from day one. And it's real easy to wipe out 15, 16, 17 years worth of work in one stroke of a pen.
Oh, that's true. Any other new business? Old business? Public access?
Sorry. I was just curious, did we get a town administrator?
No.
No.
2 of the interviews were last night, and then the third one was going to be by Skype, and they couldn't, it was a very bad connection
Oh,
to Alaska.
neat.
So they
that won't be-
rescheduled for next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Via Skype.
via Skype
Yes.
in this room.
Wow.
But I believe he's originally from around here, right?
He's originally from Weathersfield, Connecticut.
Oh.
He's telling
11
me-
a.m. here will be what, 4 a.m. in Alaska?
No, it's a 4-hour time difference, so 11 will be
it's
7
only 4
AM.
hours?
It's only 4 hours. He's in Seward.
Oh, named after Seward?
So, I'm sorry, so he's
Well,
one of two
Secretary Seward.
candidates?
Purchased Alaska, I believe.
He's-
He did. He's from my hometown.
What's that?
Wow, he's one of two candidates right now?
No, there's 3.
There were
Oh,
3
one of
finalists.
And,
He's on a temporary assignment there. He was in Weathersfield until
wow,
sometime in the middle of last year, and he took a temporary assignment when that ended.
Oh.
His
I
family
see.
is still in Weathersfield.
oh, wow.
Oh,
So
they are.
That's
Oh,
pretty
oh.
neat.
He has high school age children.
Oh, okay.
So we still have the interim
Yes.
person? And Greg retired?
Yes.
And what's the deal with the DPW?
Butch Jackson was
Butch
appointed last
Jackson.
night.
Okay. We know him?
He's a local person. He's-
Appointed by the selectmen or selected by the selection committee?
He was appointed by the selectmen last night. And he was in that same position, I believe, in West Boylston.
Oh, okay. okay.
Oh, was
He's
he?
local, town, he went to
Very good.
Tantascwa. He's got all, I was talking to a couple of people, he has all the qualifications that you would want for someone, and he was doing that job in West Boylston.
Didn't his father work for the
Yeah.
DPW at one point?
Yes.
Firefighter.
Oh, his father was a
Well,
firefighter.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I knew there was a connection.
So he was appointed last night.
Yeah, I saw that, or I saw the agenda.
Missed that.
Jim, is that immediate? Do you know?
As far as I know, it is.
Yeah, because Greg is officially gone, right?
Yeah, I
he's
think
gone.
he officially retired right before Christmas, didn't
December?
he?
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, doesn't mean they,
I'm not sure of that, but I was under the
Winter, you have to
impression he was
plow
gonna
and
start right
all that.
away.
Yeah.
you have to have an interim director right now. and-
Is there an interim?
I don't know that. That was, they filled that pretty quickly. I mean,
Yeah,
Greg was
that-
gone, I think his last day was December 21st.
Yeah, so it hasn't even been quite a month. Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
quick.
So
yeah.
they filled that in a hurry.
Wow.
Took a little bit longer for the, we're still not there yet with the town administrator. One more to go, and then that's-
Will the appointment come next week?
I don't think so. I think they'll do the interview, and then they'll have to meet to decide who they're gonna pick of the 3 finalists. You know, unless they don't accept anybody and keep it open, the search committee's done, our work is done,
Oh.
so.
Unless they can't hire anybody. If they don't hire anybody, then you'd have to go
Then we
back
have
out
to
and
go
do the
back to the
search.
drawing board and look at another 40-something, whatever it takes.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for serving on that committee, Tim.
You're welcome.
Is there any other?
Next time I volunteer for something, shoot me.
Yeah, okay, we will. Any other new or old business? Otherwise, is there a motion to adjourn? I heard the bells at 7 o'clock.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. We'll see you probably, I don't know, March
So
maybe.
don't scoot out. I have a question for you on Robert's.
Thank you.
rules.
Actually, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of meetings.
We follow Robert's rules, but we have bylaws.
I'll share something with you.
This board.
Make sure we make